Hello. Well, I wanted to share this video, since it's been quite a while since I did this last time. And as we approach the Jukai-e that we are planning at the beginning of July at Sozen's Temple and May for the Angel City, and also in August for the Rocky Mountains. And I thought I would share what I shared already at Angel City Zen Center, um, where I was hosted by Dave Cuomo, the Sangha members. So this will be just a repeat of what I already shared there. You can check the website, and I know it's there. It's one of their podcasts. What I basically shared there was the something I learned at one of the workshops of Association of Sotos and Buddhist, where priests gather. Well, nowadays it's under the pandemic. We get together on Zoom, and partially whoever can make it in person would make it. But there we invited Japanese Soto Zen priest Eben Aki, Reverend Eben Aki, who specialized teaching the Jukai. And we went through the sort of process. Jukai-e is essentially originally something that we invite someone as big as Zenji, the head priest, to come over to the local community temple, which is still large, relatively large, and the community, and invite everyone to sort of deepen the understanding of Buddhism, Soto Zen Buddhism, and share a good chunk of time together. 7 days. Now we sometimes kind of make it less to 5 days. And my understanding is unless it stretches over to the 7 days, 5 days, you can't technically call that a jukai. That might upset some Western Zen teachers or communities, because jukai is how everybody had a chance to become Buddhist, where we're not born to be Buddhist in this continent. And nonetheless, such is the significance of Jukai. And it's even for us when we talk about holding Jukai, it kind of freaks out because it takes so much manpower, time, and also I believe it's also financially it's a financial burden because it involves so many priests, food, accommodations, etc. So we combine this with certain service for the donors and members. But usually it's a series of lectures, some talk, study about the precepts and about Buddhism, about practice. So this November, the Soto Zen Buddhism North America office, together with Zen Shuji Soto Mission in Los Angeles, and with the affiliated communities, including the organization called Soto Zen Buddhism International Center. We are all jointly hosting this 100th anniversary of Soto Zen Mission in North America, basically counting the years from the year. The first Soto Zen temple, the Japanese American temple, was built in 1922. And among the series, for this series, we are hoping that we can have these all American teachers, teachers from North America, share their wisdom. In a sense, we're trying to make it a symbolic event where we mutually celebrate the roots, the history of the Soto Zen that originates back to the days when it was brought by the immigrants, Japanese immigrants, all the way to the time when it stretched over to all corners of North America through various Zen teachers of prominent Zen teachers like Shinju Suzuki Roshi, Haku Maizumi Roshi, Dainin Katagi Roshi, Kobun Chino Roshi, etc., etc. Um, to sort of embrace and recognize mutually the impact and celebrate the impact of the practice, the spreading of Dharma, and celebrate the legacies of our teachers and the existing current teachers and their students and all the Zen practitioners in the West. Sorry, I went on a little bit longer than I thought. So what one thing I particularly sort of got stuck in my mind when I was translating for Aki Sensei was the part that he shared about the basic understanding of precepts, which solved a lot of questions that I personally had. Um, so that's the part that I thought was really important to share with people who are intending to do Jukai. We have uh, three refuges. So we take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, which I shared in, I think, in other videos. And then we take three pure precepts of doing good, withholding ourselves from doing any harm, benefiting other beings. And we take 10 great prohibitions, 10 precepts, starting from non-killing, not stealing, not getting involved in improper sexual conduct, not intoxicating ourselves, etc. I shared, I think, once that the challenging part for me, well, actually, the part that goes rather smoothly is taking precepts in Buddha and Dharma, because we intend to do that right from the beginning. Then we take precepts in Sangha. And to me, Sangha represents diverse expressions, diversity of Sanghas, of all different levels of spiritual maturity, experience, social circumstances. And some Sanghas are like in much more harsh economic, social condition, while other Sanghas might be possibly like a group of professors. I don't mean to say university professors are fortunate ones, but it's, everyone is subject to difficulties, but then everyone has different characteristics, including our own teachers. Some are more academic, some are more practice-based, some are more geared towards social actions, some are more verbal, expressive, some are just quiet, and then they sit without saying much. But whatever the case is, we tend to develop opinions. And yes, I do. Yes, I'm so sorry. I do. And that's why it's important to come back to taking the precepts over and over. So one lesson that I learned, I confirmed with them, is it's okay to continue to take the precepts, to do Jukai, to reinforce this understanding over and over. And it's also good. Today's Sotoshu, many of us agree that you learn different aspects of precepts and Buddhism, Soto Zen practice from different teachers. And I think I really can say that, applying to that myself. Because I grew up blindly, faithfully following my own lineage teachers' advice. It's powerful, it's grounding, but it's also kind of limiting our views. So, especially in North America, where there's so much diverse expressions, it's good. So, taking a refuge in Sangha is wonderful, but it can be illuminating, maybe even possibly painful experience in a good sense, I hope. Now, the precepts that we take, the trap that I experienced it was that when we vow not to kill, vow not to get intoxicated, vow not to steal, vow not to get involved in improper sexual contact, or when we vow not to disparage three sanghas, slander others, praise ourselves. Some of them seem more manageable, more doable, more at the conscious level. But what Axel was sharing was that we all are basically breaking this. And most of it happens when we are not even aware of it. And that I can really relate to that, especially as we do this cross-cultural transmission. Things that I embody with what I grew up is often socially not acceptable. And it's kind of keen awareness of cultural difference also helps me understand the nature of precepts as well. The precepts are there, and without even being aware, we're stealing people's time, we're stealing people's attention, energy, we're stealing resource from others, from other living beings. We're getting intoxicated with alcohol, with drug, with our own blind belief. We're disparaging others under the name of justice, righteousness. And when we're doing this, I think most of us are not aware. And if we are aware, maybe there's a way to have a conversation. But I think a lot of conflicts happen because we're not aware. And, it's a intercultural, interfaith, or, when we talk about world peace, it tends to be a thorny, it's a rough road because of this thing keeps coming from inside. It penetrates us and goes outward to attack others. The stronger our belief is, it tends to be more sharp-edged at least. So that's one thing that I thought would be important for all of us to understand when we take precepts, that precepts are not means for us to measure ourselves and feel bad about ourselves or good about ourselves. Precepts are not a means to measure others, to slander others, to criticize, or to make a comparison. And that's a tough thing because more dedicated you are, more sincere you are, it comes to get those things start to appear. And when I went to the monastery, when I decided to go to a monastery, I was 19, and I went on and went to the monastery at age 20. And I was constantly labeled as a very immature, naive, self-righteous kid because I kept questioning. I kept asking questions like, why is it this way? Like, isn't it supposed to be more like this? Is this even aligned with Buddha's teaching? I am very sorry to my seniors. And now I get older as I age, I understand a little bit more. And I think there's a fine line, like how do we walk without being edgy, sharp against the others, kind of being round, wholesome, but without, I don't know, indulging or keeping the practice pure. So I think that's a great place to settle. Usually I settle around there, more or less, because the whole phenomena in North American continents, to me, is a collective exploration. what it means to stay genuine, what it means to be sincere about practice. How do we keep this a meaningful practice for all people, all living beings, in a very sincere way, without falling into the trap of attacking others, criticizing others, disparaging the sanghas. So, um, Reverend Naki said, today's Soto Shu or Soto Zen school in Japan, I know there are various aspects of community, so there's never one opinion, but one aspect of understanding of precepts is that we accept this nature as a human being of how we are so ignorantly breaking the precepts moment after moment without knowing. But then Jukai is a moment. It's a place you come back to develop that awareness that we are such being. And because of this, we uphold the precepts. So once you take up and uphold the precepts, then it's not like we are somehow free or exempt. Actually, it will only get more, how would I say, harsh in a sense. And that's something we are venturing into, uh, you know, to continue a practice. So that's, I know it's not much as a piece of information, but nonetheless, this is something that I thought would be important for anyone who's taking precepts, especially in Sozanji, Angel City and Rocky Mountain members. So thank you for your curiosity, openness, and the courage, determination to move on. It's been a great pleasure getting to know you all.